Hey guys, what's going on? This is your favorite guy, Panda, and let me tell you, you're listening to Pananomics, New York Weekly's #1 podcast in 2020. And right now, we have a great company called Glass Bullet Productions. They are well known for their media. They're working with us, Fox Sports, Papa Roach, and USF, and they are backed by 100% satisfaction guarantee. In this day and age, content and media are so important, and that is why we work with them. Check them out at glassbullet.media and let them know that the Panda sent you. Check it out. Hey guys, this is David Chen. We're on another edition of Pananomics Podcast, New York Weekly's #1 podcast of 2020. And today we have two very special guests, friends of mine, the one and only Paige Hathaway and the stunning GQ model, Jason Sebastian. How y'all doing today?
Wow, you got a really
I did get a good intro there.
Hey, that's what friends are for.
You'll pick me up now.
Hey, man, that's what we do. It's been pretty amazing, kind of how we organically met through some great people, became really, started to get to know each other and did some amazing thing in esports. But we're going to get that to a minute. Let's first talk about the amazing things that you guys have done, right? I mean, you are almost well over 4 million followers, hitting and killing in so many industries and really, really inspiring going from there. But tell us a little bit about how you started in this industry and how it's taking you to the levels that it's been at.
Well, the short version, I was approached by someone who was starting a gym, and I was not in the fitness industry at all. And he was a hairdresser, so he wasn't in the fitness industry either. But I was working a few jobs. I was going to college, and he just knew that I had drive to do all the things that I was doing. And he was like, it takes drive and ambition to be in a fitness competition. And at first I was kind of like, I had a weird, like, what is this fitness competition? Like, is it being on stage in a bikini? Like, I don't know if that's really my thing. Because I'm actually quite shy when it comes to stuff like that. I'm like, I used to be. I'm a lot, like, obviously more open.
Things have changed, clearly.
But I was just like, I don't know if that's like my thing to be on stage in a bikini. And I started like researching it more, and I was like, oh wait, like this is actually pretty cool how people are changing their body through like working out. And I was like, can I do that? Because I was just 100 pounds soaking wet. Never really lifted weights before. I had that kind of thought that if you lifted weights, you would kind of look manly. Because I don't know, 10, 12 years ago, that was kind of the thought. I just did cardio. I just did like group classes, never really lifted weights or specifically trained a body part. So I don't know. I just kind of like started researching it more, and I was like, okay, like maybe this is more of like showing your physique rather than like parading around in a bikini. So I was like, okay, let's do it. I showed up at the gym one day, and he was like, whoa, like you're going to do it? And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And I trained for 4 months. I entered in the Ronnie Coleman, which is the biggest state show in the US. And I got second place.
Wow.
And from there, I was like, oh, this is awesome. Like, I'm kind of good at this. And I kind of fell in love with the journey and the process. And I mean, Instagram influencer was not a thing when I started. I didn't set out to be an Instagram influencer. That title just created itself as the platform grew. And fast forward to now, yeah, I have like 4 million followers on Instagram, 6 million on Facebook. It's pretty crazy.
It's insane, and the one thing I love about you two is you guys are really the dynamic duo, right? You guys are working together, pushing things through, same thing with me and Katie, and there are great days and there are some days that things are a little bit rough, but at the end of the day, you're focusing as a goal. As we talk about this, how did you guys meet, and how did you guys, as you guys met, develop into this journey of working together as such an amazing couple?
Well, if you've ever been to Oklahoma, there's not a lot there. I'm sorry.
Have you been to Oklahoma?
I used to live in Tulsa, so yeah, I have.
Oh my gosh, how crazy.
So for fun, people come down on the weekend to Dallas. And so it was like 11 years ago or something now. Our group of friends just always hung out, maybe more now. their crew from Oklahoma used to always come down every weekend and hang out with like our group of friends, which is kind of the wild degenerates that knew how to have a good time and show people from out of town around. So we met during that. We flirted quite a bit.
Yeah, we had like a crush on each other like forever ago, but never like told each other. And then life has a funny way of, you know, separating you and then sometimes bringing you back. And we didn't talk for like 10 years.
Wow.
Which is a whole nother story to get into. I was blocked on Instagram for a while. Didn't even know I was blocked. Didn't even know like he had become anything of an influencer or whatever you want to call what she is now. Had no idea this was happening, and then she slid into my DMs for the record.
Work got us back connected. Like I have a friend named Jason Poston, which is our mutual friend. He's also in the fitness space, pretty big fitness influencer. He lives in Dallas as well. And he was like, hey, do you remember Jason Sebastian? I'm doing business with him in the CBD space. Maybe it's something that you should look into getting into. And I was like, oh yeah, I do remember Jason Sebastian. Like I used to have a crush on him. What is he doing these days? And I was like, you're right. I should look into seeing what he's doing. But really I was wanting to like look in to see what he was doing.
I love it.
And yeah, and then fast forward to now.
Yeah, she came to Denver one weekend and then we've been inseparable ever since.
Literally.
Yeah. And now we have a little
we have a podcast. Now we're on your podcast together.
You know what I love about that story is a lot of people don't realize the necessities of having a trusted partner that can really help you focus on the goals at hand. And, you know, I attribute a lot of my success to my fiance, Katie. Like without her, my mother's my CFO of my company, right? Like there's family members that you can always trust that will love you and guide you in the right way, you know, and you guys clearly do that. When did you guys know as you're growing on your fitness journey, your influence journey, that this was really a thing? At what point was like, you two are like, wow, we can really do something out of this?
No, you're cutting out.
You're cutting out a bit. Are we still live?
No, we're not really live. We'll cut it back out. But at what point did you guys, when you guys were growing, did you guys realize that this was really going to be an amazing thing? Like this could really, really happen and make it work?
Well, she figured that out before I came in the picture. I just came in the picture and was like, oh, this is, you know, let's not break this. This is working.
I think for me, I was living in Oklahoma and I had no idea that Instagram was going to be a thing that you could create a brand on and have a sustainable business on. I was just on Instagram because I'd found this like new passion, this new journey that was making me fulfilled and changing my life in a positive way. And I was wanting to share it with other people because I was like, oh, this is like doing all these amazing things, not only like physically for myself, but mentally, and just having a positive domino effect on my whole entire life, with even just getting like my mind right and being focused on the things that I'm supposed to be focusing on in life and not, you know, being unproductive with my time. But I was so passionate about it that I was just sharing my love for fitness on social media, and I grew to like 2 million followers fairly quickly. And then from there, I moved to LA because I was like, oh, okay, I feel like I need to move, get out of Oklahoma. And I moved to LA and then furthered my brand to about 4 million. But that's when I moved to LA, I was like, whoa, like this is actually something that I can create a business out of. This is crazy.
That's insane. I mean, 2 million to 4 million from Oklahoma to LA, back over where you guys are currently at. What a growth. What an amazing thing. Yeah. When you guys were growing up, you know, your childhood, I know it was kind of like mine. It was a little bit rough, right? Just like mine was. What kept you going and motivated and letting people know that no matter where you're from, you can absolutely make it if you really try?
Yeah, my upbringing, I mean, wasn't all sunshine and rainbows, but I guess it wasn't the worst either. But I don't know. I used to be kind of ashamed of my upbringing, like kind of embarrassed because I didn't like grow up with the picture perfect family. And, I had friends that I was kind of envious of that did have the picture perfect family. And I was so ashamed of it, but it's truly, truly, if I take a look at all of the hardship that I've been through, it's made me who I am. And when I think about it, I'm like, I really wouldn't change that for anything, because I'm so resilient now, and I'm strong, and I'm determined, and I have all these good qualities from going through hardship in my past. And I was like, wait, I can actually use this as good if I just change the way I feel about it and think about it, because it has made me, so strong, and it's got me ultimately where I am today. So I don't know. I feel that a lot of people can use hardship as an excuse. Oh, I'm not successful because this, or I'm not like where that person is because of this thing that happened in my life. When actually a lot of successful people have gone through crap. You might not see it because they don't talk about it, but they've had hardship that they had to overcome. And I just kind of think like you can use it as an excuse, or you can use it as fuel to really push through and get where you want to be.
That's such a beautiful thing. From everything negative can come something positive, right? And I look back at my life, being homeless for a very, very long time and trying to figure out my life. But if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have the drive that I currently have now. And so some of the worst things that you think as a younger person, for our youngest audience listeners, that are unfair actually end up becoming a competitive advantage down the road. And it's beautiful that you guys do that. At any time when you guys were doing this, Instagram and social media is a big part of showing a lot of who you are and what you're trying to do. You guys have a family, you have a beautiful kid, you guys are playing video games and doing some pretty cool things out there. Was there at any point that you guys said to yourself, maybe we shouldn't do this? And how do you balance it out so where you can still feel part and safe to the things that you guys want to keep, but yet still expand and give positivity to your brand out?
You want to answer anything?
You're doing great. This is more about you than it's about me.
This is a teamwork, buddy. This is everybody.
Yeah, for me, it's all about staying true to yourself and your brand. Obviously, yes, when it comes to building a brand on, especially social media, and when you do build a brand with, even just a little bit of followers, you're going to have people that are going to want you to promote something or do something or whatever. And at the end of the day, like, it reflects your brand. It reflects who you are. And people, like, if you have followers, obviously people are listening to you. So they're going to listen to what you say. They're going to listen to what you're promoting or, trying out or putting on your story or Instagram. So for me, it's really about staying true to your brand, who you are. I feel like that is so important, to stay real in this space.
And it's hard because there's a lot of negativity that comes along with like being in the spotlight. Like, you're going to get people that are going to chime in on everything you do. Like, it's going to make someone mad. So just be you. There's no reason to fight upstream with a bunch of people that you're never going to meet. They're never going to affect you unless you let them and let their comments get into you. But you deal with a lot of negativity too. That's something that I was opened up to pretty quickly. I'm vocal about some of my support for different things in our country, especially. And, it can take your toll, take a toll if you let it, but you just have to, realize that everyone's going to have their opinions, and, it's best to just stick to who you are and just be you. No reason to change for someone else that you might never meet.
I think a lot of people don't realize that we're all human beings at the end of the day, and things hurt, right? And we're putting ourselves out there to do some sort of change, whatever our change is, right? Positivity, trying to help and influence. And, sometimes when you see some of the negative things, like it really does affect you and hurt, and you make question it. When you see your significant other getting bashed for other things, it almost enrages you, right? Like, to the point where, like, how could you say that? That's not how that person is. How do you guys keep that professional for people who are trying to enter this world and don't realize the things that are going to happen that can happen that are out of your control.
I look at a couple of our friends that do it kind of the opposite. They immediately attack people that say this or that, and they kind of like make a ploy out of it. And I was like, I'm not going to do that. But yeah, I don't know. I
don't know. I mean, it could be on social media. It can be when you're in middle school, high school. It could be with someone that's gossiping about you in town, like, I mean, there's negative opinions all over, like your cousin, your sister, someone could have a negative opinion about you, not even just a stranger, for me, I've just taught myself to have really thick skin. And at the end of the day, like what I think and feel about myself is the only thing that matters. And obviously like what Jason thinks and feels.
Sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, I have in the past received like negative comments when I'm one of the first fitness girls on social media to have muscle and to be flexing on Instagram. So with that came so many comments about, what are you doing to yourself? You look like a man, like you're losing all your femininity, like just so many things that definitely could have gotten to my head. But at the end of the day, like I was happy with my body. I was happy with what I was doing. I was staying true to myself. And so because of that, it didn't affect me. Now, if I'm not staying true to myself and those comments then possibly could get into my head because I'm not confident and comfortable in my own skin and staying true to myself. So again, it all goes back to staying true to yourself, staying true to your brand. And I feel like people are going to like you, not like you, no matter what. You could be the perfect angel on social media and people are not going to like you because you're a perfect angel on social media. So whether each side of the spectrum, there's going to be someone who has something to say.
That's absolutely true. I just tell people that you don't start, they say you're a loser. When you start, everyone's got an opinion. When you make it, they say you changed. And when you retire, they say you fell off. So you don't. It's an impossible win, right? Yeah. So the fact that you guys can go from there, the other thing I always say is, as a group and as a couple that is striving for the same goals, I know that you guys have a new podcast coming out, doing some pretty amazing things. Talk to me a little bit about that podcast and what you guys have in store for the audience in the world.
I'm so excited. First off, it's exceptionally exciting for me because it's like a new chapter in my journey. And it's a way for me to really be so much more vulnerable and engaged with people. I feel like Instagram, it's photos and captions and it's 1-minute videos. Like you can only express so much. You can only connect with people so much. And a podcast is like, it's like so much potential in connecting with people like we're doing now, it's just so much more deeper and I'm just so excited about it.
I love it. Jason, what are your thoughts on the amazing podcast coming up?
Yeah, I mean, it's a deeper dive into who someone is and you share experiences with guests that you bring on that can talk about your past you just get to hear all sorts of unique stories. It's super enlightening to who a person really is. Because, when you're on Instagram, you control the narrative. But when you're in this one-on-one conversation, like you get hit with curveballs and you got to see how someone reacts. And you start to see kind of really who a person is through interactions like this. So I'm super excited for it. It's emotional.
Congratulations, by the way, of having such a kick-ass podcast.
Yeah, we see it right here. New York Weekly.
Thank you. It's a story like anyone else. I mean, I did it. I was like, who wants to listen to me? And my friends and my fiance are like, you should do it. And right before I was about to quit, I get the award that we were ranked #1 from New York Weekly. And that kind of put my journey. But the one beautiful thing I see is whether it's you, whether it's Domi Shi, the Academy Director of BOW, or Aaron Jones, everybody has a couple of core things that are the same. Yeah. They have grit, they're nice, and they believe in what they're trying to do, and they're authentic to themselves. Mm-hmm. And to me, as more and more people hear that and they hear your guys' stories, they're going to realize that it's beyond the social media side. But you guys are honestly, genuinely very nice people. And Jason and I had a real heart-to-heart about a week or two ago. Remember, we're talking, and we're just like, we really like each other. And that's where it's really hard to find people in the world that we're in, because you don't know what everybody wants.
Yeah.
You don't know what they're really trying to do. You don't know how they're taking a piece of you. And I think a lot of people don't realize that when you get to a certain level, it's unfortunate that you almost look at more negatives, even though you want to be positive, because you have to put up your guard, right? And people don't understand that.
Yeah.
And in this podcast world, you're so vulnerable and honest. And what goes out there, it's done. Like, Dad's going to call you. He says, I'm not Mom's going to call you. It just is what it is. But it's such a beautiful thing, because if you can help one person, it really makes a difference. And that's why I love, talking to you guys, because you guys do it in such an amazing way. And I really see the couple side of it. It's very inspirational for us as well, because it can show that if you do it right, you can do that.
Yeah. You know what? I think it's really cool. You said that you were doing your podcast and you're about to give up, and then that happened.
The big break.
Yeah, I just feel that so many people give up on whatever it is so early and so easy, when it's like right
around the corner.
Like it's right there. So that's really cool and inspiring.
Well, I appreciate that. I think a lot of people have a misconception. Like, I remember when I'll call Jason, we talk about 3 times a week now, and we'll talk, and literally it's like 10:30 and you guys are still working, and you just have to put down the kit, and you're still doing photo shoots, and you're still putting things together. People don't realize how much work really goes into this. They think it's a couple of photos, boom, I make it. That's not how it is at all.
I thought that's how it was at first. It was a very rude awakening.
I bet he really did think that.
I was like, man, this shit's easy.
So
easy.
No.
when you realize this and going from there, what would you tell someone who's trying to get into this world, a good piece of advice that's going to happen, and something to be cautionary about too as well?
A good piece of advice is, well, now I feel like an influencer is kind of like a job title. Like, people set out to be an influencer. They set out to be a YouTuber. And you are kind of like, in a big pond. There are a ton of people nowadays that are trying to do the same thing. Also, the algorithms for these platforms like Instagram or Facebook, it's very challenging to grow now. So with that being said, I'm not saying don't do it. It's too hard. I'm saying that you really need to think outside the box. You can't just think that you're going to post photos on Instagram and grow to millions of followers. Maybe you might get lucky and do that, but will be very challenging. So my greatest piece of advice is think outside the box. Think of ways, because I did this prior to the algorithm having all of the things that are happening with them, but think outside the box as to how to grow your brand. If you want to be in the fitness space, write a list of things that you could do potentially that could get your name out there, other than posting photos on Instagram, because obviously you're only going to hit your audience that is following you. And how do you hit a new audience? So, there's so many different ways to try to grow your brand, like doing a podcast with someone, or reaching out to even a local magazine in maybe Dallas, Texas. Can I write a column for your magazine? I'm trying to grow my brand. Can I supply like a free weekly workout? There's just so many things that you can do if you think outside the box and not just think like about just posting photos on Instagram or Facebook. So that's my number one piece of advice. It's just thinking outside the box. Would you want to add something?
I'll give you the warning. The second that you put yourself out there, you're going to start to receive feedback that you might not be expecting. And from some of the people that you thought were the closest to you, might start becoming barriers in your mindset. You start getting negative feedback from people that, you thought were on your team, and they're not. So just be prepared to overcome, negative opinion, because that's what it is when you put yourself out there.
You know what's beautiful about that comment, and a lot of people don't realize this. A lot of people think that the people you start off with are always going to join and grind with you on this journey. And when they start falling off, they victimize themselves and start blaming you for things. Mm-hmm. What they don't realize is how much you're hurting deep down inside, and how many sleepless nights you had to have to finally make that decision to cut them off.
Yeah, that's
and it hurts them. It's like it deep down inside. It kills you. And I don't think people realize that 10 million followers, #1 podcast, whatever it is, it really hurts. And so for a lot of people is what they don't realize is it's their insecurities with themselves, because they're like, well, I grew up with you. I did this. I shouldn't be able to do this. No, man, you didn't grind. You didn't work as hard as we did. So I love that piece of advice that you guys gave, the positive side and the reality side of it, Jason. Like, it really is true. It is the most truest thing in the world. And it really,
if I bring her back to reality, that's great. That's great.
That's like our life. Like, I'm like this, like, oh, this positive, whatever. And he's like a realist. Like,
I gotta at least.
So it's funny that we answered it like that, because that's like how our life is. Like,
it's beautiful. There was a study I once read. It's called, this is what me and Kate talk. We talk about the boy and balloon. In every relationship, there has to be a boy who's holding down the balloon, and the balloon is one that's rolling around, but someone has to settle them down. So, one time in a relationship, I might be the balloon. Currently, I'm the boy who's holding the balloon. But that's how it's a perfect balance, because you need to have both of those to kind of filter it. That's why I love the way you guys work together and have you both on this, because people can really understand it doesn't have to be me alone. I do need a team. I do need people to help me out. And it's not as simple as, can you go pick up the groceries, or can you feed the dog, to as late as, can you sit here and be on a podcast with me at 10:30 and I got to sign on Google Chrome, right? Like, it's the same thing, you know what I mean? But people don't realize that. And it's so amazing that you guys can show this side of you, because people really need to see that. You're a human being just like everyone else, right? And that's what the key beautiful thing is. Speaking of next journeys, you guys recently joined NACL, obviously partners, brand ambassadors, got back into the video game world and hitting that new stride. I know that Jason's been training really hard lately, from what I've been told, between our calls and things like that. Right?
He is. He really is.
Hey, that's buddy. When you first heard about this, let's shoot this straight. What did you guys really think? And then how did you guys realize that it was a great path and a potential path to continue to grow their brand and touch other lives in a positive manner?
Well, first off, I was like, this is too good to be true. Like, we get to play video games and this is fun. And
yeah, right.
Like, this sounds too good to be true.
Yeah, growing segment, playing video games, get to help change lives. Like, what's the downside?
I even told Christian, I even told Jason, I was like, Jason, if you buy these games, this is actually research, and if it's part of the thing, you can actually use deduction and taxes.
He told me that.
Oh yeah, we put it on the business card. Don't worry.
I love it. What did you guys want to segment into that industry, and how did you guys see that potential? Because it's a crossover that some have done and some haven't done, but you guys are innovators. What made you guys think about doing that?
I like the industry for a reason that's a little different. I mean, I see people that grow up gaming, or at least when I grew up, the gamers kind of got a hard time.
Right.
Uh-oh. We got a new rescue puppy that's on the loose. He's about to create a mess on brand new carpet and furniture.
Oh no. Anyways, but keep going.
But yeah, so the gamers always had like they always got a hard time. So they had their own obstacles to overcome when it came to bullying and stuff like that. And I see there's a big opportunity because they face a lot of adversity, and now they're given this industry, this market that's a true opportunity. I mean, they can be the Michael Jordan of esports and doing what they love. And I don't know, that's just incredible. It's just what's great about this country, and where this world's headed right now. You put the hard work in anything that you're passionate about, you can be great and see the financial rewards of that. And that's kind of where that's what intrigued me the most about this. Obviously working with you is a plus as well.
Yeah.
As we've talked about, you're pretty cool, but
yeah, we like you.
I like
changing lives and getting a message out there is also.
Oh my gosh.
It's all good. This is perfect. Paige, what about you? What made you want to join and be part of this industry?
No, yeah. Well, that's something that we talked about. So good job on that. But no, I think it's amazing. And, you know, I'm trying to get all the gamers like swole and stuff, you know, so.
Right. That's right. You know what's amazing about your guys' answer was there's a real sense of compassion, right? When Jason was saying it, he was saying in the sense where like he understood what it was like to game late at night for the kids that might not have been very popular in high school and might not have been very popular back in the day. And now it's become so mainstream that I can sit here with you two and have Iron Man on there and nobody thinks it's weird, right? It's just part of our life. But that also tells you about how great this country is and how great the world is becoming. You know, we see so much negative, but for the first time in a very long time, it doesn't matter if you're male, female, if you're handicapped, if you're not handicapped, you know, what your physical attributes are. You can really play on a stage as long as you're good. And then you can pick the game that you're good at. And the other thing I love is seeing father and son, mother and daughter, mother and son play and bond and talk about things like video games because it's what's really, really cool. So kudos for you guys for seeing that vision as well. It's amazing. You know, before we wrap up, I just want to talk about one last thing. If you guys can give each one piece of positive advice to our audience, what would that be to them? I'll let you go first.
Me?
Yes, ma'am. Ladies first.
Ladies first. I have to think about this one.
One piece of advice. I would say, and this could go for gaming or whatever it is that, you know, your little heart desires, but I would just say that, or kind of like you doing your podcast, if you want to do something and you have that like fire in you to do it, whatever it is. Like for me, it was like, I found fitness and I was like, ooh, I love this. Like I had that like fire inside of me, and that fire is so important because that fire helps you wake up in the morning and gives you drive. And that also has a domino effect in all areas of your life. And it also helps with your energy and your happiness and your fulfillment. So if you have that fire in you about something in your life and you're pushing towards it and maybe things aren't working out, don't give up. Because if I would have given up, I had so many doors closed, so many things didn't work that I tried. But if I would have given up, I wouldn't be here on your podcast today. And I wouldn't be in the position I am today. So I say, if you have that fire there, it's there for a reason. And maybe the things that you're doing, maybe you need to like tweak it a little bit or find, you know, something else that's going to work. Like maybe that thing, that path that you're going down is maybe not working, but that direction is there, right? So don't give up. Just like I said, try something else, because I truly in my heart feel that if you have that desire inside of your heart to do something, it's there for a reason. And it's going to be amazing once that thing works that you're, you know, trying to achieve. I just feel like so many people give up so easily. And it's just, you gotta just keep hammering away or build your own door, build your own opportunity, figure something else out to make it work.
I love it. I love it. Grit is so pivotal in what you're trying to do. And I love that. Jason, what would be a piece of advice you would give our audience about life and business and what they should be doing as well?
Yeah, my advice kind of piggybacks off that. Once you have that fire and have picked kind of your direction, like stay laser focused towards that. There's a lot of distractions out there, a lot of shiny objects that will distract you and take away from your energy and effort towards what you really need to be doing. And if you can stay every day laser focused on what it is that you need to be doing and what that goal for yourself is, you can accomplish literally anything. So
that's good. That's good motivation.
I love it. Let me tell you, I was about to ask you guys, do you guys have to go work out now? Because the last time I talked to Jason, which was like 2 nights ago or 3 nights ago, with your daughter, right? And he's like, it was like 10 minutes like, and we still haven't even worked out yet. And but that's that laser focus. No one would think that at 10:30 at night, after working all day, doing all you did, have your daughter have to do all the things that an adult, like, I don't know who signed us up for being an adult, but someone signed us up for being an adult. And then you're still working out late at night. And I got to be honest, I started working out a lot more after I heard that, because I was like, well, if Paige is doing it and Flex and Jason's got to go do it, I'm like, I really don't have an excuse. I got to go flex right there, and I got to do what I got to do. So I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you so much for your authenticity, your sincerity, and just being such pivotal, positive human beings and showing the real side of you guys. Like, that's such an amazing thing. So thank you again.
Thank you, David.
I appreciate you guys. For Paige Hathaway, Jason Sebastian, and David Chen, thank you for watching.
Your muscle. Let's say that.
Watching for Fanatic's podcast. And we will definitely talk to you guys soon. Good night. Check it out.